Hey, everybody, hope all is well. Let me give you a quick update. XRP Army, how you doing? Hey, we just dipped back under $2, okay, on XRP. It's a crazy chart. I was just looking at it. Okay, don't panic. Before you panic, I just want to slow this down and kind of show you some market structure in comparison to what we think's going on. So, uh, this isn't, we're not talking about XRP being weak or anything like that. Nothing has changed with the current structure of how market cap altcoin. When the higher market caps do something, XRP is more dramatic. And the fact that it is kind of following the market trends is amazing. Keep that in mind. It's just a little bit more dramatic. Okay, so that's something we're going to deal with right here. Real quick, let's look at what this illustrates for us, okay? Dramatic stuff going on, so it still doesn't have clarity. Sorry, people. That's what this whole thing is about. We gotta have clarity for more consistency and more movement. Now, I got a couple of notes here. Okay, despite XRP repeatedly participating in broader market moves, okay, this tells us something important, what I wanted to talk about here. So the market price expectations, we all have expectations and they're sitting there trying to predict prices. Those guys that try to do that, just be wary. I mean, nobody can nail it. It's just not possible. And then so, there's some risk. There's risk on, risk off. Now, more volatility creates a bigger appetite for risk. So things have to be in place for investors to want to indulge in a higher risk appetite, which is XRP. Okay, so it's participation in this does not equal some kind of resolution. Optimistically cautious. So the thing to note, everybody, XRP is still moving without clarity. It's not it's not bullish or bearish. We're in this kind of a neutral waiting zone. This is a signal about certain risk appetites, not legal outcomes. Okay, the legal outcomes is kind of here or there. It's important to define the things, but it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with structure. So keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, and so this is a mistake that some people make, is that they're looking at XRP as its own company or its own thing or its own project. Okay, which it kind of is, but what's more exciting is when we see XRP moving with the market as a whole. That's what we wanted this whole time. That's the whole time since the inception. We wanted some kind of participation in the market. And that's what we think that XRP is doing. This show you right now. Okay, here's Bitcoin, everybody. Bitcoin, look at this nice. I drew a new trend. We started that upward trend. Once we broke that 89,000 right around 90, that was a resistance level. We got through it. Look what happens. This is how things move. That's a really nice pump. Of course, we're going to get some relief in it. Freaking boom. It shot up. I thought we were going to break 100 on this one, but look what happened. It did its same thing. It's a stair stepping up technically within this upward trend, these two blue lines here. And there's some important levels with Bitcoin. The 90,000 is huge. We have we're right now, this is current. This is our daily candle. The 24-hour candle is playing with the 92,000, which is a higher low. That's very bullish. Okay, a higher low is what we like to see. So I'm going to pay close attention if we stay in this channel. Now, there's a lot more going on, but I'm going to leave it simple like that. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum, it had a smaller turnaround with upward trend. As you can see, these two blue lines that I'm looking at here, this is a big deal. Right here where I got a circle, that's when we crossed that 5-day moving average, had some movement to establish some new support right there around that 3,000. Okay, I like that candle. Boom. So it tested this channel, this trend channel. Look at that. In one day, that sucker went all the way up, and then we took a little relief. So the back offs are not as a high a percentage as Bitcoin, right? Now, look at XRP. It's a very similar structure, but it's more dramatic. That's what we need to expect when we're playing with smaller market caps. It's not a small market cap. It's just an altcoin. It's one of the first altcoins in the list. We changed our trend. This was just, look at this. I didn't even draw lines on this because it would look goofy. It was an explosion upward. We tested. I thought, okay, that 220, that's a huge, we established new resistance. 220 is new resistance. Now look, there was more of a dramatic downturn than the two charts I showed you previously. They were expecting this. We're expecting more volatility on XRP than Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, this is today, right here as we speak. I like how the body is small. So there's smaller amount of activity going on. We are trying to establish that 195 seems to be the number. And remember, this is psychological. This is human beings making decisions, pulling the triggers on psychological things and the technicals. And an even number like $2 is, there's a lot of stop losses. There's a lot of buys underneath that. So there's a lot of things going on that get automatically initiated that can explain why we're seeing some of the structure. I hate, dude, what's this wick? Look at this wick right here. Went all the way down to like $1.83. It's like, it was those stops. And some of them were purchases right below there. So that's what that wick did. It went down and took care of all that stuff. What do we got right here? What's this note? On August 7th, 25, the SEC versus Ripple case ended. Boom, we know. That was awesome. 125 million institutional XRP. Everything got paid out. Legal uncertainty around XRP is lessened, boosting interest in its use for cross-border payments. That's what the utility is. Real-world asset tokenization is huge. Supporters claim adds value beyond speculation. XRP has dropped over 3.95% in the last 24 hours. See, it's a little bit more than Ethereum or Bitcoin, as we expected. Trading about 197 right now after hitting the low of 185. This decline follows a death cross on technical charts. Okay, don't worry. That term, death cross. Three-way correction sets XRP price on a bearish course. Another major crash is coming. Okay, this is a note right here on tradingview.com, but I'm telling you, people, it's a structure that we're focusing on. So just want to share it with you today. Let's let this week play out. Today's a holiday. There's not much activity going on, and a lot of it has to do with the Clarity Act. I know they're going back and forth on this thing, but just the main thing when you think about this, the reason why we're in crypto is because of decentralization. Because we want to kind of be removed from Big Brother and kind of get away from the banks in some regard, but they don't want that. Banks are trying to secure a monopoly legally amongst everybody else. We got to keep up the good fight. Thank you, Brian Armstrong, like we were saying. And I would please encourage those elected officials in the Senate, in all areas of Congress and government to understand that we need support in terms of not allowing banks to have a monopoly or the government infringing on privacy. Constitutional law is a big one. We have to maintain our constitutional amendment to privacy. We don't want to see that. So if this is helpful information, give me that thumbs up if you would, please. Trying to get those subs up, hit that sub and share this video. Just me showing you the charts, I think is a very valuable thing. And I did some research, gave you the narrative. So let's go from there. Thanks for checking in, everybody. Crypto Hop signing out. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.